Are we live?
We're live. Woohoo!
Muscles.
I'm gonna share while Raymond does introductions or something.
Come on, Dion.
Is it on? Is it gonna echo?
No matter who's the president, I'm still the president of my life, baby.
Okay.
All right, here we. I'm gonna share.
There you go, Ashley. Meditate. See, I got it.
Yes, you know it.
Woo!
Let's go, Ashley.
We know how we go.
Well, hello, everybody.
Down, but it ain't never gonna work.
Yes.
What's up? What's up? What's up? How we doing, everybody? Happy, wonderful Wednesday grind. Did somebody just walk behind somebody, and I thought it was me. I thought somebody walked behind me. That really freaked me out. I thought my daughter was here.
That happens to me all the time.
How we doing, everybody, on this wonderful Wednesday night? And this is your Transformational Talk with Ray and Saraí. You guys know me. I am your man, Right Way Leadership Transformational Coacher. I am your mentor. I was going to say your mentor. No, I am your motivator, your inspirator, and most importantly, your transformator. And tonight we got something special for you, but I'm going to let Queen Saraí take it away and let you know.
Oh, God. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Transformational Talk with Raymond and Saraí, or Ray and Saraí. I should say Ray and Saraí. Today we have a special group of people, and by special, I just really mean special. And we're going to have an awesome talk on emotional intelligence and whatever comes out of that. And if this is the first time we meet, guys, my name is SARAI NAMMUR, like state of Florida, but my passion is helping you transform your adversities and your traumas and everything you went through and been through, and help you transform that into your superpower and your weapon and repurpose all that pain. And we're here every Wednesday to talk about self-development and how to get you to your greatness. So today's talk on intelligence, and tonight we have a lot here. I think the oldest person here is 25, and I think it ranges from like 17 to 25. So we're gonna get. Are you guys all millennials, or is there like an X or something like that? Is there something else?
Your internet service is horrible.
Mine?
Yeah, is that yours or mine? Because you're breaking up big time on my side.
No, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little choppy.
Later.
Yeah, you're completely frozen.
Oh no.
I told you to get that internet fixed in that office. So I'm a millennial. Brandon voted.
Is it working?
I'm a millennial.
Yes.
Am I good now?
Raymond, you're a millennial.
I am. I'm claiming it.
Okay.
Can someone tell me if you could hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So anyway, so I don't know if you guys heard everything else I just said. Did you guys hear everything I said? All right, so let's get started. I said everyone here is what?
We can hear you good now. So just go ahead. Do your thing.
All right, so we're going to talk emotional intelligence today, and I'm going to start with the first question for tonight, and we're just going to go around. Everybody can answer. So the first question I have for all of you is... Can we
introduce everybody first? Can we introduce everybody first?
We forgot that.
We need to introduce everybody first.
All right, so I already introduced
myself.
I already introduced myself. I'm going to jump to Dion. Go ahead, Dion. Introduce yourself.
I'm Dion Payne-Miller from South Bend, Indiana, and I'm 18 years old.
Oh.
Young man.
Okay, next. Brandon, introduce yourself. No one could
muted.
hear you.
No.
No, you might have to go out
No.
and come back in.
We're there
Really?
now.
Oh,
Yeah? You hear me now?
Yes.
I knew it. All right, my name is Brandon Pena. I'm 24 years old, and I'm here from Miami, Florida. An artist, student, and son of Saraí. Wait, there? Yeah.
My son.
Yeah. Nice
All
to
right.
be here. Good to be here. I'm not tired.
good to have you.
Man.
You're looking good, Brandon. You're looking good, Brandon.
All right, Ashley, next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ashley Peña. I am a mind, body, soul life coach and a model. And basically, I just love helping people in all aspects of their lives so that they can live confidently and authentically. And I'm also from Miami, Florida. And I love hanging out with these people, working with these people. It's so awesome to be here.
Who are you calling these people?
Good to have you. So good to have you.
All of you, thank you.
Next,
Look,
Cookie, Julian.
Hi, I'm Julian Hernandez. I'm a visual artist from Miami, Florida. This is Helen Piloto. She's also a visual artist.
Introduce myself.
You go, girl.
Yes.
he was just trying to be a gentleman. He was just trying to be a gentleman.
I love that. That was good.
Continue though. Continue.
Yeah, no, that's about it.
Well, I'm Helen from Miami, Florida. Also, visual artist.
All right. Okay, so let's get started with our first question of the night.
I first want to say, since we're getting started, I want to thank you guys for coming on, especially with us millennials. We got to stick together, and I just wanted to say that. But so I've talked to Julian before briefly. I haven't talked to Helen, but me and Dion work together. I've known Ashley for a while now, and of course, me and Brandon have talked together, and of course, the other half of me for this show. But I just want to thank you guys for coming on. This is going to be a good night, and I think this is important. I hope people take a lot, because we're going to be talking about emotional intelligence, and we're going to, you know how we go. We're going to get deeper into it, but I just want everybody to understand that there's a good mix right here, age-wise, ethnicity, gender-wise. And I think this is going to be pretty cool, because it shows how diverse as people that we can be, and how much greatness we can add, to ourselves, to our families, to the legacies. So I'm excited to hear what everybody has to say tonight. I just wanted to share that.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for pulling
Thank
it all
you.
back. And let's have all, more energy, people. Everybody's like, woo! Like, I don't know what's
That was
happening.
awesome.
But anyway, let's start with our questions. So I actually did get some questions from people. And one question is, what does emotional intelligence mean to each of you? What does it mean to you? So who wants to start with that question?
Well then. I wonder if my mic is working. Is my mic on?
You're on, brother.
Yes. Yeah.
Emotional intelligence.
All right, I feel like
Go ahead, Cookie.
all right, I feel like emotional intelligence to me is just basically being aware of yourself. Like self-awareness is involved in it, but I feel like to develop how self-aware you are by yourself, you have to be emotional intelligent as well. So you can be comfortable with yourself, so you can be able to think and develop yourself in whichever way you want. You have to be aware. I feel like you have to educate yourself on how to be aware. So you need to know what your intelligence are. You need to know, like, if you're having anything that's wrong, you need to know how to execute that and proceed from there. And that's what I feel like emotional intelligence is to me.
That's really good. It begins with awareness. That's really, really, and I know you did a whole dissertation on that and a whole research paper. So yes, that was good learning for this. Ashley, you want to say something?
Yeah. So for me, emotional intelligence is really having the ability to to be self-aware, like you mentioned, but to also have balance within yourself and know how to regulate your emotions, essentially, right? Because we all have them, and I feel like someone, to me, that's emotionally intelligent is able to be really aware of their emotions and not react on them and not go initially to act on them, but be able to be aware of how you feel, why you feel the way that you do, being able to self-reflect and being able to also have empathy and understand why other people act the way that they do or feel the way that they do. Like, I feel like being emotionally intelligent allows you to understand that what people do or how people act is not just something that's done to you or to other people. A lot of times it's tied to their emotions and what they've been through. So for me, it's really, really tied to empathy and being able to regulate your own emotions while at the same time being really understanding and empathetic when it comes to how other people act on a daily basis.
That I think you really pulled it all together there with saying, you know, being aware, understanding others' emotions, which is the ability to have empathy and put yourself into someone else's shoes, being able to regulate your emotions. So I think you really like pulled all the pieces together very quickly there. That was really good. I don't know if do you guys want to add it, Dion or Brandon? Do you guys want to add anything else to it from your point of view?
I mean, I guess I would say emotions are a very real force in everyone's lives. So as far as emotional intelligence, it's like a necessary tool when it comes to navigating emotional landscapes, so to speak. And I think for me, emotional intelligence it goes hand in hand with like personal responsibility, because if you don't have control of these forces that are acted upon you, then you won't be responsible or able to respond to them or interpret them or anything at all. So I think emotional intelligence is extremely important, especially at times like this when everybody's so stressed out and all that.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you for that. That was good. Dion, do you want to add something, or do we move on to?
I think I would just substitute for my word when I think of emotional intelligence as fitness or fit, emotionally fit.
Love it.
Or I'm thinking of my mind in a certain way that's going to set me up for success or greatness. So, fitness.
Love it.
That I like that the way you look at it. That's really good.
Emotional fitness.
Emotional fitness. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
So
I think that's really important. Sorry. I just wanted to add something really quick. I think it's really cool that he mentioned fitness because it is something that you can work on and it's a muscle that you can build. So I think that viewing it as fitness is really cool because then you get to like say, oh, I'm just, you can't use the excuse of I'm not emotionally intelligent. You can realize that it's something that you can work on and build because it's like fitness. So you can build that muscle.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what I was about to ask. Like, how is it like fitness? And you said that right away. We thought the same thing at the same time.
Awesome. Of course.
Okay. So the next question I have is: some people think that emotional intelligence is more important than other forms of intelligence to achieve success. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think more important than other forms of intelligence in trying to achieve success?
Say that again. What are you saying?
Some people believe that emotional intelligence is more important than other forms of intelligence in order to achieve success. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's more important than other forms of intelligence?
But it makes me wonder, what are these other forms of intelligence that we're comparing it to?
Well, like intelligence as far as like your IQ is another form of intelligence. Communication is another form of intelligence, which actually goes hand in hand with emotional IQ. So it does have something to do with that. But do you think it's more important? Let's say, do you think it's more important than just your IQ?
I don't know. It's hard to say if it's more important, but it's definitely fundamental. Like, you know, like Dion was saying, if you're not physically fit enough to climb a mountain, then in the same sense, you know, you got to be emotionally fit to be able to conduct yourself to be a successful person. If you don't have that fundamental, you know, structure for yourself to be able to support yourself through stress, through failures, through all sorts of negative experiences, adverse experiences, then it's hard to be successful.
Well, think about it this way. There's some people that are extremely intelligent, they have very high IQs and hold really like big positions. But then when it comes to communicating and having empathy or being able to validate others, they completely fail, and they're unable to like manage a team, have relationships or anything like that. So that's where that question comes in, I think, as far as like, do we think it's more important than other forms of intelligence? Like, those are, what are you laughing about, Raymond?
Heather said we look like we're in Hollywood Squares.
What's that show with all, I forgot what it's called.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just read that and it was hilarious. I'm sorry.
Oh, she said she's running the treadmill.
She said, I'm running the treadmills and you guys look like Hollywood Squares.
Oh my gosh.
That's so funny.
Dion probably has no idea what we're talking about.
Well, I don't even know what we're talking about.
Oh my gosh. Look, never mind.
What? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I believe EQ, I believe WQ, and I believe AQ is all more important than IQ. I believe IQ is important, but I can tell you this, me being pretty much an eighth grade, delinquent, I did not have very high intelligence when it came to the world standards. So if I would have went off of that alone, then I probably wouldn't amounted to much. And then there's many people that have a super, super superior high IQ that they can't get out of their own way. So I think when you're able to control your emotions, when you're able to remove yourself from the outcome, when you're able to remove yourself from the circumstances, I think that's when you're able to have more success than it was with just being intelligent about it. Because I can tell Ashley, I can tell Brandon, I can tell Dion through the intelligence of how A plus B plus C and how you maneuver here. But can I actually have the emotional quotients to get through and make it to the other side? And I think that's, and it goes to also will. I think you have to have an incredible will. I don't think IQ can give you the will and the discipline to do the things in order to be successful. I think most successful people I know, they have a gift, they have an intelligence, but I don't think they align with it until they find their calling. And that's when the EQ kicks in, and then they start to be passionate about what they're passionate about. And it actually, to me, adds on to the IQ. So I believe that you have to have control over your emotions first.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think without the emotional intelligence, it's almost like riding like a really nice car with like really bad wheels. Like you're not really gonna get anywhere with that. Actually, you look like you're dying to say something. I'm probably reading your behavior.
It's crazy. I'm so excited because I love talking about this.
No, you're like this. Hold on, I can't even.
I was like, what you said was so powerful. You said it's like driving a car without like wheels, right? That image is so important because we are emotional beings. So to be just intelligent is to completely ignore a huge aspect of what's necessary in our lives. We all have emotions and we all go through things. So to just focus on intelligence is really insane to me. It's not necessarily that it's superior or inferior. I don't believe that I'm like superior to anybody because I'm emotionally intelligent, but I do believe that I wouldn't be able to function. I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't have a balance of at least some type of intelligence, right? But with all of the emotional intelligence I have, just like you said, if you're a car, essentially your body that experiences emotions, you have to be able to have the muscle built to be able to regulate and manage those emotions. And if you don't, then how is the car going to run? Like you said that so perfectly. And that's why I was really excited.
Well, imagine emotional intelligence means so much because you're able to read body language, you're able to read facial expressions, you're able to empathize with a person. And the more you're able to understand what someone's experience is, the more influence you're going to have over them. And so it really just pours into so many things. Like if you're a boss, if you're a parent, if you're, in a friend, in in a romantic relationship, whatever it is, if you don't have the emotional intelligence part, that relationship isn't going to last very long, and you're not going to have a lot of influence over the other person, which ultimately, we all want to have influence over the people around us.
Definitely.
That's just what it is. We all want to have influence for sure over everyone around us. So I think I believe emotional intelligence is more important than just IQ. Like my daughter, I've been teaching her emotional intelligence since she was 2 and 3. Like if something was wrong, I would identify for her what she's feeling. Like if she would cry, I'll say, "Oh, are you sad?" So that way she could tag an emotion a word to emotion, and that's part of emotional intelligence is knowing how to say what you're feeling. The first part of emotional intelligence is being able to identify what's happening with you. I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling resentful, or I'm feeling whatever, as opposed to saying, I don't know what I'm feeling and I'm gonna run away. Because if you think about experiences with people, they get so overwhelmed with their emotions that they can't even express they don't even know what they're feeling. And so it becomes very scary if you never learn, number one, what you're feeling, and number two, you never learn how to regulate it. You never learn how to regulate your emotions. Emotions become scary. What do you guys think about that? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, one of my mentors is Tony Robbins, and he said that human emotion is the most powerful resource or force that human nature have. And the reason he said that is because we have the unique ability to change our physiology, and intellect can't do that. And so what you mean by that is he talk about changing your state, going from extremely sad to extremely happy or extremely energetic. And I just think that emotion is really important when it comes to achievement, goal setting, or just like Ray, you were saying, having the will to do it. Intellect, you can know a whole lot of stuff, but how many people know a whole lot of stuff but don't do what they know? So like that's what I'm on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I'd like Helen.
Raymond, you're like, stop it. That happens all the time. What were you saying?
I was saying I would like to hear Mrs. Helen, and we're getting a lot of noise from everyone's microphone. I don't know who's it's coming from, but every time you're talking, I can hear more of the microphone clatter.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know who that is, but it's a little scary.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure who it is. All right. Helen, do you have anything that you could say about emotion? What do you want to say about emotional intelligence?
Honestly, I'm kind of just like listening to this right now because personally, I feel like at times, it is hard to identify certain emotions, stuff like that. I think that's something that we can all I don't know about all, but personally, like right now, I'm more listening because I feel like that's something that I need to work on. So,
okay. Well,
Thank
that's true for a lot of people. It takes it. We're not raised really learning emotional intelligence. The majority of people aren't really raised identifying their emotions and identifying why did I just react this way and what is it that I'm really truly feeling. So it's good that you said that because that's really the majority. The majority of people can't identify that. And one very important emotion that a lot of people don't know how to identify is conflicting emotions. When we have two opposing emotions, it makes us feel crazy. So like, for example, we might love someone, but at the same time, we might be so angry with that person. And those two emotions clash. And that's an emotion that a lot of kids have with their parents. That's an emotion that a lot of people have with their significant others. And that's just such an important emotion for us to be able to identify when we experience it. Like when we want something, but on the other hand, we're feeling another emotion. Those are called conflicting emotions. And that's so important for us to know what a conflicting emotion is. Especially like Raymond is talking about adversity and having the adversity IQ. Well, if you grew up in a home where your parents were abusing you, that's very confusing because you love them, but then you hate them for what they did to you or for what they didn't do to you. So it's very important to know what a conflicting emotion is, because then you'll have that over and over again in your life, and you won't know what it is. And those are the moments where people go, oh my God, I feel so crazy. I don't even know what I'm feeling. And it's because you're having conflicting emotions. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
There's a couple questions that I think are really good to ask them. But I also want to say, after I do that, is I believe all great victories start with the win over yourself. As I believe we have to understand that we have to have victory over self. That's where almost all of this starts anyways. But Courtney asked a question,
Okay.
and each of you can answer this, and it's, how do you guys exercise your emotional intelligence muscle in a world that is online with electronics and on social media? That's a great question. That is a really great question.
That's a great
Can I
question.
answer that first?
Yep, go for it.
So for me, this is a huge one, something that's really, really important, especially like she mentioned, because of technology. I have a platform. It's kind of my job to be on social media. And as you guys know, I'm in and out, and I've really managed my time very well on social media, because if not, I don't have that time to tune into myself. So it's essential that you make it a priority of yours to tune out of technology and tune into you, to self-reflect and to sit with yourself. Because if you are constantly looking outside of you, it's going to be really hard to tune into what you're feeling, what your reaction is, your bodily reaction, right? If I'm feeling angry, what does that feel like for me? And I have had to sit with myself and say, like, what do you feel? You know, whether it's through journaling or just like sitting with myself in meditation, or just sitting with myself in self-reflection. Like, what do you feel? Are you angry? What's happening in your body? Why are you angry? What caused this? You know, like, do you just feel angry? Just like Saraí says, is it a conflicting emotion? You know, like, you know this, and you're only going to know this if you sit with yourself and really tune into what it is that's happening within yourself, and exercise it in that way. That's something that I've done and still continue to do, because it's a never-ending journey.
Absolutely.
But being fully aware, fully with myself, and managing my time to make sure that I'm not distracting myself with social media and with technology, because it's really easy to do that. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna get lost in scrolling, right? You have to make sure that you're catching yourself even when you do that, and manage your time wisely so that you're having time to sit with yourself.
Awesome. And I have something to counter that, but I wanna listen to what everyone else has to say first. Brandon, you go next. Brandon.
Can you restate the question for me one more time?
So the question is how do you exercise your emotional intelligence in a world that is online with electronics and social media?
Well, I would like to make the distinction that this world is not online. We engage with an online network, but that is not the real world. So you have to actively, or at least I actively, try to disconnect as often as possible, because it's very easy to just let like 20 minutes at a time, multiple times a day, to bleed away the time that we have with ourselves. And lately, especially now during this whole quarantine situation, I've been trying to actively use meditation as a way of grounding myself and just disconnecting from all the stress and all that, because a lot of the stress comes from being in that online network and letting that pressure get to you. But I know I use a lot of meditation as well lately. You just have to be very conscious. It really is true. You need to really know when you're present and when you're not present.
Perfect.
So anytime that I catch myself sitting on my phone for too long, I notice it and immediately will put my phone down and just figure out what I have to do. Because while I'm on my phone, I'm not attending to my goals. I'm not present. I'm not aware of the fact that it's daylight outside and there's birds chirping. I'm not taking care of my obligations. I'm just interacting with this artificial world, you know? So I wouldn't say that I have to like interact with it. It's actually important to just step away from it as often as possible.
Yeah. Good.
I don't know if I explained myself too good there, but I think you guys got
No, that's good. And you use the word consciousness, being conscious of it. That's important, especially at a young age.
Definitely.
What about you, Julian?
All right, so yeah, I completely agree with Brandon. The fact that this world isn't online, that's just a platform we use. It's depending on how you use the platform, whether it's good or bad. Like personally, I like to use the platform for like informational use. If I want to research something, then I'm going to use the platform. Or if I need to contact somebody, because that's what the internet's there for. But in terms of emotional intelligence, meditation is a good one. Keeping yourself like updated in research, which is good with technology, so that you can use technology to inform yourself, which is a state of being aware. And you also have to release technology and be aware in the experience of life rather than digital. In the digital world, there are two worlds. Um, and yeah, it's like you just practice and be aware and know what you feel. You know.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Personally, when it comes to emotional intelligence and like grounding yourself back into the headspace, like after something happens, breathing really helps. Like just in the moment.
Like breathing. Yeah.
But another way that can you restate the question again?
It's so he says, how do you exercise your emotional intelligence in a world that's online with electronics and social media?
Yeah. So initially, when you read the question, I first thought of like relationships, because definitely you can't keep all your relationships through, internet. So like important relationships to me definitely make me exercise my emotional intelligence, because I want to keep them and like maintain them and like keep growing with them. So I definitely have to look outside of like my initial response and go into a higher self to be the best I can be and grow with the other person.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, Dion.
I'll be real short here. I think the common denominator, I think, of what everybody said is just intentionality. Like that's the word that comes to my mind. It's just being intentional, the way that we use what we do.
That's good. That's good. And that really being intentional can really be an emotional. So my follow-up question to you, Ashley, because as I was hearing you say, give your answer, I thought of this. So when we're talking about emotional intelligence and we're talking about social media and we're talking about, the internet and we're talking about YouTube, we're talking about all these different, I don't even know all the stuff that's out there because there's just too much, but it's pretty easy, especially the younger you are, to get emotionally attached to what's going on social media. And do you ever feel the people around you, especially your guys' age, when it comes to emotional intelligence, that they will lose their emotional skill set because they will carry around everything that they see as if this is the real life?
Oh,
right?
Yeah, definitely, all the time. That's something that's really difficult for me, and it's a huge reason why I'm almost always disconnected, which is rare for people to understand, because I have a strong presence on social media, but I'm not living through social media. And I have seen many people that I love really lose themselves and their well-being on what's going on in that world, in that realm, because it's there to lock into your emotions, right? To in a sense prey on your emotions, right? As bad as that sounds, it's not all bad. And like Dion said, we can use it intentionally so that it doesn't become negative towards our well-being, but it definitely can be that, and we have to be aware of that within ourselves. But I have seen that so many times to where my loved ones are overly stressed. It's the same thing as like watching the news all the time, right? Like if you're only dialed into that, you're going to connect with what emotions they're trying to get you to feel. It's like you're watching a movie or listening to music. If the movie is scary, your body's gonna react that way, right?
Absolutely.
Like emotionally, you're gonna have that reaction. So there's nothing different than a 20-second video or a post that has a purpose of having you react emotionally. So if you're doing that for hours and hours and hours a day, absolutely, you're going to feel drained. You're going to get overwhelmed. You're going to feel those emotions. And if you do that long term, you're going to see that in people's lives. And I definitely have experienced that.
Absolutely. And I like what you said. So what I think of that is I think of, I'm told a lot, especially in the industry is, and I think we all fall into the scrolling thing because you start, you get the laugh and then you scroll to the next one, next thing you know. But I think it's especially what you're saying, because you do have a dominant force on social media is it's don't be a consumer, be a producer.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Be short and sweet. Be about the business. Be about your business. Be about your business.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I want to add on to what I was trying to say earlier. Yeah, I think it's really important to. When I was trying to say that it's important to disconnect, I think what I was really trying to say is like, all of this social media stuff is, and like the networks that we engage with it's just stimulus to us. Humans have existed for a couple hundreds of thousands of years. I mean, definitely a lot more than that. Like I think 2.5 million years, something like that. There's never been a time in human history where we have lived the way that we live now. So like me being conscious of like our history and where we come from and how humans have lived, and you think about how people are like mentally sick nowadays and how many people are unhappy. I don't really see, this social network or the internet age or whatever being something that's part of our real world, because it really isn't. It's something that we have to learn to adapt to. So that's why the first thing I said was we have to make that distinction. This is not the real world. It's really important to stop and add into your days. Depending on who you are, depending on what relationship you have with your social media use, it's really important to actually be intentional and set in time to be out with nature, be out and engage with the real world, whether that's people, whether that's with nature, or whether it's with yourself. Because this becomes a major distraction to that. There's like, if we're not interacting with somebody else, what do? You take out your phone to distract yourself. Not only are you not engaging with people, but you're not engaging with yourself. There's nothing happening. You just
disconnect. You get
gone.
disconnected. You get disconnected to connect into the virtual world. So
you just lose your faculty to think and feel and be conscious.
Absolutely. There's a saying that they say, and you might have heard it, and it says, in a time where it's the most easiest to connect, we're the most disconnected we've ever been. Definitely. And that's it's so true. It's so true. Somebody, I think a friend of mine, Clint, said this on his live the other day. He said, social media has gotten it real comfortable for people to say things that they would never say to your face. Right? But it's the same thing. So which makes it a lot easier to post things about your life that are really because I know people on Facebook or on Instagram that, everybody thinks they have a great life, but I'm talking to them behind the scenes and they're telling me, emotionally how they're falling apart. And it's because they have attached themselves to an unreality. It's not a reality. Yeah. And when you attach yourself, then what do you have to do emotionally? You have to keep that hype up. You can't. That's why I like Ashley so into being authentic, because if you're authentic, you ain't never got to lie.
Yeah. And I think it's great that you mentioned that, because in both sides of this coin, it's draining and does a huge disservice to your overall well-being, right? Because if you're the one putting up this facade, that's extremely draining. Like, you can't last that way forever. But also, if you're watching only facades, you're gonna have this like totally warped idea of what reality is. And just like Brandon said, if you're on top of that, not taking time to connect with yourself, to connect with nature, to connect with other people fully, then you're in both sides of the spectrum, you're missing out. And you're not able to really exercise your emotional intelligence, because that's what it means to be emotionally intelligent, is to be present with who you are and present with who other people are, not with what they're showing you, not with the illusion of what you see, but what really they're saying and what really they're feeling. Being able to know that and feel that comes through having conversations like this, right? If I were here but on my phone, I wouldn't be able to really connect with you guys. If I'm with my family and we're out eating and they're on their phone, I'm not with them, right? And it's something that's really important for us to be aware of and catch ourselves and commit to being disciplined when it comes to that, because if not, we're constantly seeing this false reality. And the truth is that we're all human beings and we all have emotions. I'll cry on Instagram just to show people that people cry, like I'm not ashamed or scared of doing that, because I want people to see that people don't know human being in this world is like smiling 24/7.
Untouchable. Yeah.
Yeah, even me, right? That's like super bubbly. I cry and I feel other complex, difficult emotions. And if I don't share that and we don't share that, and at the same time, if I'm always seeing this facade, then I'm going to think that something's wrong with me.
Absolutely. I love that.
Now that you said that, actually, like, what about there's people who deliberately use social media to deliberately disconnect from the world, from their world, because their world is not a happy world. So then they create a whole new world through this thing right here, you know. So there's also the opposite effect, which where this is an escape from the real world.
Absolutely.
You know, going back, it's actually, I just had a thought and I lost it completely. Going back to the importance of emotional intelligence, and also piggybacking on Dion's example of using the metaphor of exercise and stuff like that, to grow and develop, to answer the question, to grow and develop emotional intelligence and to like harness the importance of it, you have to pave out time for that. You know, it's like going to the gym. Really, it is like going to the gym. You know, you can watch YouTube videos on how to exercise, but if you're not in the gym practicing, and if you're not in the gym exercising, then no development happens. And in that same sense, it takes work, just like anything else in life, to develop emotional intelligence and to be able to navigate emotional landscapes.
Yeah,
that's good. That's good. I love. I had a brain fart too. Dang it. I wanted to ask. So going into the next question, which is a great question, and I'm going to let Dion start off with this one. I can't find it. Why can't I find it? Oh, it's from Frank. So yeah, he says, what are some steps towards self-control or self-management?
Self-control and self-management.
Yeah.
Ray, you got to give me all the hard stuff, don't you?
That's because, dude, I see, man, I see your brain work, bro. Like,
he's soaking it in.
Yeah, man. I see. Look, man, I had him on last week. Man, that brain is like boop, 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 boop.
Yeah.
To self-control and self-management, I think it starts. Well, I'm gonna just tell you what I do. Meditation is powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just an exercise that you, Brendan, was kind of talking about. Is meditation is powerful, and also connecting to what Ashley said, getting in tune with yourself. We as people, or some of us as people, have such a hard time sitting with ourselves, not because we don't want to, but we're actually afraid of what's going to come up once we do. You know, that's really, really scary, you know. And I have family members and friends who are so dependent on social media that it's almost like a lifesaver. To what you said, Saraí. So I say meditation, I say reflection, writing, but also I'll say this last thing. We always talk about this thing about, I'm not going to get spiritual, but this devil or this enemy that we fight. But who is the real enemy? I say you are your own worst enemy, right? And and if you really, really want to get self-control and self-management, and you pray for something such as, I'll use this analogy, you say, I want more patience. Well, you're probably not going to get patience just automatically, but you may be put in situations where you're forced to exercise that emotional intelligence to execute that.
I like that.
You know what? I love this
really
question.
Good answer.
I love this question. I say I love this question. This is
then
always
you get
a
to
really.
Take it next. Let's go. Let it run.
Okay, I think Dion hit it on the head. You have to. I'm not gonna take the words out of his mouth. But anyway, and what he just said, I think, leads to this next idea that I'm having. You have to lean into discomfort. Some people don't like to, meditate, or they don't want to go to therapy because they're scared of what's gonna happen. And why is that? It's because it's uncomfortable. This past week, I had a very stressful week, and I almost lost myself. And I had to remember that in order to exercise and get bigger. You know, if you want to go to the gym and get bigger, you have to go
Yeah.
progressively higher and be progressively more uncomfortable. You really do have to lean into discomfort. So when people ask, like, how can you exercise that? I only think it's funny because you have endless opportunities every single day, every interaction that you have with other people and with yourself to exercise anything that you want. All it takes is commitment.
I like
Yeah.
that. That's really good. It's
Love
really good.
that.
Everything
Because when it
takes
happens, you have to lean into it. If you run away from it, no growth happens.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that. I used to teach the kids on the football team. You know, we would play an opposing team, and you know, as a coach, I would break down the game film, and I would watch the plays, and I would be able to coach them. And I would tell the kids, I was like, lean into the guy. As a defensive player, if you lean into the offensive player, they are going to take you to the ball. Don't fight so much to get away. Lean into them and fight through them, and it takes you to the ball. So we have to, man, you know, everything we do in life, like from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to bed, every interaction, every decision, every food that we put in our body, every exercise, everything, every single thing we do, we really have to do it with this just conscious effort. Everything we do, because when you don't do something consciously, that domino effect, it's the whole thing when they say, you know, when you wake up late.
What was
How'd you do that?
Saraí, mute your mic.
That was crazy. I sound like an alien.
That was crazy.
I'm not an alien. I swear I'm not an alien.
right there? All right. Anyway, continue.
I'm freaked out.
It sounds good.
That was a different type of that wasn't static. That was beam me up, Scotty.
I just can't see you guys. So anyway, I think you can see me, but I can't see you. So that's fine.
Yeah. So I was just saying it's you mentioned it, Brandon. We got to be, you know, we can have whatever we want, and we can, but we have to be conscious about every step that we take in doing it, for beginning to end. So many people think they can jump in the middle, and they get mad when they don't get success or they don't get the good grade. And it's like, well, A, you never started, and B, you really never finished. You just jumped in the middle and expected. Yeah. But that's when we go back to the emotional intelligence, you know, emotional intelligence, knowing that I have to have a starting point. I got to learn the process along the way. I have to be able to control myself when things don't go my way. So when I do hit that middle point, now I'm getting some results, and now I need to level up again. Now I need to go into a place of, I got to add a meditation, or I got to add writing, or I got to add journaling, or I got to add exercise, or I got to add, you know, some types of habits, because then now I got the emotional intelligence to reach myself to the next stage and to the next stage. There's always a level up, right? I do believe that there's always a level up. What do you think, Ashley?
I agree 110%. And I think, obviously, I could not have said it better myself, what you guys have said. Yeah, you know it. But I just think it's so important for people to understand that, like, it's also difficult, right? Because when your mind tries to convince you that leaning into discomfort is obviously uncomfortable, we don't really acknowledge the fact that not being emotionally intelligent and not exercising that muscle is also uncomfortable. That's also very challenging. But you're so used to it that you convince yourself that it's easier and it's more comfortable to stay that way. But it's really not benefiting you in any way. So even though it's really uncomfortable to lean into that discomfort and sit with your emotions, it's going to lead to you leveling up, like you mentioned, right? There's no other way around it. Even though what you're doing is also challenging, what you're doing is not allowing you to grow. It's not allowing you to exercise any muscle. Just like not going to the gym and not working on your health and your fitness is not fun. That's not an enjoyable lifestyle, right? But going to the gym is also difficult because you have to break down your muscle fibers. It's painful. You have to recover. It takes commitment. It takes discipline. But doing the opposite of that is also very uncomfortable because it's not serving your greatest good. So you just have to choose which level of hard you want, right?
I like that.
Choose the hard that's going to make you a better human being, a human being that's going to be able to regulate emotions, that's going to be able to like thrive and live peacefully, right? And in alignment. So it's not that one is easier than the other. It's just that they're both challenging, but one of them offers you so much. You gain so much, just like all of the things you gain when you work out. So you have to be able to choose the one that's going to be worth it for you.
I love that. That was phenomenal the way you just put that. I think that's a lesson like that could really be a course. Like that is a lesson that I think especially so many of high school kids up into college, even, I mean, of course, even people my age, that's so true. You got to pick your hard. You really do. That's a perfect way to put it. Pick your hard. But one's going to bring tremendous results and the other one's going to bring tremendous pain. I do.
Definitely.
I love it. I love that. Whew. All right, Julian.
All right, can you restate the question? I'm so sorry.
So I think we kind of just went kind of on a tangent, but the question was, so I'll say it like this. It's, what are some of the steps you personally take towards self-control? Like, what are some of the things you do towards self-control or self-management?
Self-control.
All right, so self-control and self-management. I feel like self-management is, well, let me think. I was going to relate it towards time management because if you have to manage your time in a proper way for you to gain information in a proper way as well. Well, I wouldn't say proper, but more efficient way. So in that same sense, you have to learn how to place things and when to do things. And so when it comes to being aware, you also have to be aware of what you're doing and how you're placing things so you can arrange them however you would like to do. So, yeah. No, it's because I had the
sorting it out
in my head,
in his
but
mind.
it
I can
slipped
feel
away.
it right now.
I can see the smoke.
Hey, Ashley, go ahead, thunder.
That engine is trucking. Well, you're. I mean, so you said you do virtual.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So
the question is about self-management.
Huh? What happened?
I'm sorry, the question is about self-management, and what was the other word?
Yeah, that's like
because I'm trying to really pinpoint exactly self-control.
Self-management and self-control. There you go.
Yeah.
If you can manage yourself, you can control yourself. It's basically what I'm saying.
Okay, I think we could talk about time. We could talk about how we use time because we live in this realm of space and time. I'm not trying to be funny or spacey or whatever, but that's all it is. It's just space, me, my body, and time, and that's it. So how are we using that?
Yes.
Is it going towards development or is it going towards anything else other than development? I think that's kind of what we're trying to talk about too.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, Brandon. So when we're on that topic, so, not everybody, so we have a good group of young men and women on here, right? And so you guys are the exception, but not everybody thinks like that. So, when you're talking about time management and you're around a group of people that probably don't really have good time management skills, they probably want to do a lot of different things. So how do you function? Like, how do you function and how do you proceed in a world where everyone else is trying to get you to draw you away from really what your gift is, really what you want to succeed in, really what you want to do? How do you separate yourself and how do you use your time wisely when everyone else is trying to get you to waste your time?
And that's for me. That's the question for me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I personally, I think in regards to that question, one of the most important things personally for me is forming a relationship with myself. I think people they overlook that, the spending time with themselves, getting to know themselves, getting to know what they value and what they believe. There's some people who never, they'll go their whole lives and never re-examine or rehash on their core beliefs. And they carry these like impressions that they've taken from other people. They take these values that they've taken from other people or other institutions like school or I don't know, anything like even church or political views or anything at all that just isn't inherently you. I think it's extremely important to really take time and make it a practice. It's not just like, oh, let me just take one day out of the whole month or one day out of the whole year to do a self-love thing because it's trendy. No, it's really important. It really is important to love yourself, and not love in a romantic way. Just love as in you really need to tend to yourself and get to know, who am I? Who is this person that I am? I live inside this body. I live on this earth with all these other people. Who am I? Before I can interact with other people or learn how I want to interact with the world around me, whether it be with people or just the physical world, who am I? Where's my starting point?
Who am I?
And a lot of people don't know that. I know adults that don't know that. I know plenty of people my age who don't know that too. They have plenty of time, but I know some people that are not there at all. I'm not there really.
Yeah.
I'm every single day. That's what I think about.
I like that.
And I mean
that's
that
fantastic.
literally every day. Yeah.
I know, and I think every day you need to find time. I think it's so, at least everybody I know that's in any type of transformation, which is it's just a growth mindset. It's a bridging some of the gaps that you have, right? So first you have to know where you're weak at. You have to know what you lack. And then those are the things that I like to try to study on. Okay. Well, back in the day, it was like, why don't I have any friends? So I read a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I said, damn, no wonder I ain't got no friends. Because I didn't do anything that book said. Right. So, but that book, you know what that book taught me? It taught me two most important things. Smile, you prick. Right. That was the first thing it taught me. Smile, you prick. And the second thing it was taught me, remember people's names. Remember people's names. Because when you say someone's name, it generally invites a smile from them, because not a lot of people remember people's names. So, I like that because but that's what I had to do for myself. I had to start with the basics. Really, when I first got started, I said, why do I suck? And what book can I read to teach me not to suck?
That's so true. I had a friend of mine that I learned that lesson a couple of years back. A friend of mine that lives in LA now. He used to call me by my name whenever we'd have conversations. Like right off the bat, when I first met him, he would instantly address me by my name. And I didn't realize how powerful that was until then. Because when someone calls your name, they're commanding your attention. They're really engaging with the person.
It's a great thing. I mean, and just to know, I mean, it's a receiving. They receive it. So like,
it's a subtle form of intimacy also, because you're really
absolutely. You ever been, you're walking through a grocery store, you're walking through somebody, you say hi to somebody, they don't even acknowledge you. But what I learned is you learn their name, right? So I used to work, and people would walk. When you work with scientists in the pharmaceutical and biochemical industry, like they're different. They are different. They're very high IQ, you know what I mean? And they're not really good with the emotional quotient, right? So they will literally walk by you. They won't look at you. Their head is in the ground. So once you learn their name and you start to say their name, you know what happens? Their head goes up, and then they respond to you. Like it's I'm telling you, you guys ought to like some of the, dude, it's the funniest thing ever. But what it does is it breaks barriers, because it shows people you care. It's the whole thing. You can comment over social media for days and days and days and days, right? But until you take it to more an intimate relationship, you know what I mean? Then it can change. And then you go from Facebook to Messenger, and then from Messenger to maybe a Zoom call, and then from a Zoom call to maybe coffee, if you're close enough, of course.
I think that's what we lose in technology is intimacy. Because we can connect with each other like endlessly, but the intimacy of those connections is completely lost. It's like eye contact. You look at someone in the eyes. Some people will crumble if you look at them in the eyes. They can't do it. It's just too intense for them. It's too intimate. Absolutely. There's too much going on here. It shows too much. So.
Remember when we went to that training where we all had to walk around the room and stop and stare at somebody in the eye for
my God, man. Yeah.
We all went to a training, and you had to walk around the room, and when they said stop, whoever was in front of you, you had to stare deep. You had to stare into each other's eyes for like 1 minute.
I would giggle. I'd be giggling the whole time.
You had to stare into a stranger's eyes for a minute.
I'd be so giggling.
It's
I
so
love
revealing. It's so revealing. I'm like, oh my God, you know all my secrets now.
It's so
That's so.
powerful.
They don't want to know that.
It's so scary.
But I love
Like,
that you said that. I love that she said that, right? Because she said, "Oh my gosh, you know all my secrets," and that's how much you can know. That's really how much you can know about somebody by being like tuned in. You know, it's that vulnerable because you're like being seen.
And your eyes are the windows to your soul.
Absolutely.
And you can really see someone's soul. It's really difficult. Like do that for a minute, just stare, and it's like, okay, what? You love me?
Hey, gentlemen. So what we're hearing right now is how women look into our soul.
But I want to go back to what Dion was saying about. Dion responded to Brandon's comment about self-love and how people avoid that and stuff like that. So the truth is that a lot of we don't know how to do what Brandon was talking about earlier, which Brandon has taken this whole year to know himself, which has been I watch him every day doing it. Like it's like amazing. He comes first. Like he is first. He does everything first. But you know, if you're not raised in a way where you even mattered enough, then you start believing that you don't need to ask yourself, what do you want? Because no one ever asks you. It's uncomfortable to ask yourself, what do I want? What do I really want out of life? What do I really want out of my food? Where do I want to go? So those are really difficult questions if you were never asked that to begin with. And we do.
Huh? And let's not forget. I said, let's not forget we live in America as well. You know, this is you know, your value comes from how much you can produce, what you can do. It doesn't really matter how emotionally intelligent you are. You know, to the outside world.
Yeah. You see it in corporate. I've worked for a lot of corporate companies, and you see the disconnect. There's just you can do all the team buildings you want. You can do all the freaking day outs and buy all the lunches you want, and people will be like, "Oh, cool, yeah." But the next day, if you're not filling their love tank, if you're not filling them emotionally and making them feel recognized or making them feel like they're a part of a team or making them feel like, then it really detaches them even from you know their other employees and their employers and stuff. So I know I've been listening to a lot of Napoleon Hill lately. I was even watching a video from like 1930 something. It's the funniest thing ever, but but he was saying this, and if none of you have read the book Outwitting the Devil or listened to the audio book, I recommend that you do it. I've been trying to tell your mom, Brandon, for a long time to do it. You got it, don't you? Yes. This book, Napoleon Hill says this. Now he says a lot. The book is really powerful, but he says there's 3 things to attain that you must attain. It's spiritual, mental, and the physical freedom, right? These are 3 things as human beings that we must control. Somebody mentioned, I think Dion mentioned about the devil, right? And the thing is if we can control our emotional state, if we can control our physical state, and if we can control our spiritual state, the devil cannot do anything to us because he has no power, you know, when we are in control of our thoughts, of our emotions, in physical. When I read this book, it started to talk about how important it was to have a cleansed intestinal system. You know, what we eat, what we put into our body. In the way he stated it was like most people eat things that would put a sewage system to shame, like the things that we have going on in our body. But what do you see? Ashley knows this because I know Ashley. She makes these crazy meals. I want her to mail to me, but it's keeping it. It weighs you down. It exhausts you. It makes you frustrated. Your blood sugar levels off. It affects everything. It affects everything. It's so important. So people don't know that, you know, if you overfeed people, if you entice people to overeat, if you entice people to indulge in alcoholic beverages or nicotine, or if in sexual in whatever it is, if they indulge in anything, then they're losing themselves. right? They're losing their emotional intelligence. I think that was so powerful when I heard that.
It's tied together, right? Like, I think it's really important to acknowledge that these things are not like separate from us. They affect us, you know, like
Absolutely.
what I put into my body is energy. So if I'm eating something that takes a lot of energy to digest, I'm not going to have that much energy. If it's giving me energy, then I'm going to be super energetic and have the energy to live abundantly and freely. And so we have to know that what we put into our bodies, whether it's listening to things, seeing things, or ingesting things, that is tied to our emotions. That's tied to our physical body and ourselves. And if we see it separate, like, oh, it doesn't matter, it's like it matters so much. It's essential to be mindful of what you're putting into your body, because that to me is part of emotional intelligence, just like you mentioned. If I'm not mindful of what I'm putting into my body, what I'm ingesting in every aspect, what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, what I'm putting into my body as far as hydration and fuel goes, then how am I going to expect myself to be super balanced when it comes to emotion?
High performer, right?
Yeah,
like how are you going to be a high performer? Exactly.
Absolutely. It's not going to happen.
Absolutely. I love that.
I want to respond to the initial question. Y'all been saying some amazing stuff. It's so fire. But one of the questions, Ray, that you initially had was about, and I got to say it real quick, just before I get out of my mind, is how do we separate ourselves from those people who are trying to get us to do other things other than do what we know that we should do, right?
Yes. How do they steal your time? What do you do when people basically are trying to steal your time?
Okay.
Your mic.
All right. And this conversation is so awesome because it's just showing me all the weaknesses that I have. And Ray know I'm boo-hooing to him like, oh man, I can't do this. But anyway, like this is what it is, and this came to my mind, and it's so easy to say it because I'm on this process too. But when in response to that question, I think of two things: value and cost. Many times when we look at something, we go buy something, we're looking at how valuable it is to us and how much that thing costs. I know me. Look, y'all. I'm cheap.
So am I.
So look, so I'm trying to get the cheapest thing, but I think it boils down to this: many people don't know how valuable they are to themselves, to the cost that they're going to pay if they don't take the necessary steps to get to the life that they want to live. Right. So, how valuable are you to yourself, and what price, what cost, what is it going to cost you if I don't do this? What price are you going to pay? And the question is, are you willing to pay that price? And sadly, most people, because they don't know how valuable they are to themselves, they pay that price.
You know, it sounds like you've been mentored by somebody, but it's one of the things. Huh?
That sounds like the whole drifting thing from the book. That when you start drifting away and you start like getting distracted by things, and even if it's food or whatever it is, you start disconnecting from yourself and your real purpose for being here. And that's what Out with the Devil, the book, that's what it talks about. That's actually one of the ways that the devil gets his grips on you is by getting you to drift away.
Yeah. And you lose power over yourself, and then you allow other people to have power over you, which I think resorts. So first I want to say, I love what I have a saying, and I say, what do you want? Know what it's going to cost and pay the damn price. Right. I think it's pretty simple. I think it's simpler than that. But I think when we go back to the drifting side, I think Brandon talked about it earlier. So when we go back to drifting I just lost my train of thought again. See, I shouldn't have said the thing.
Well, did I said that I almost lost myself?
No, well, I think we do lose our. You were talking about thoughts. I'm going to tell you right now. Perfect example is yesterday morning. I walk into work and there's a security guard working there, and the election was today. I don't get caught up. Everybody's got their wah-wahs all in a bunch. But so the first, so we talked about the debate, and the first thing she said was, "I can't wait for the election to be over so COVID can be gone." And I looked at her and I said, "What does that even mean?" And she said, well, you know, it's all just a part of this part. And, you know, once they pick a president, it'll be over. So I said to her this. I said, okay, first off, I can tell that's not your own thoughts. You've literally heard that from somebody. I said, second of all, didn't you realize that this was a global pandemic, that it's not just in the USA, that it's in Europe, and that it's in Russia, and that it's in Germany, and that it's in... So, and it just blows my mind, because how many people, and I'm going to tell you, how many people through the presidential election, through whatever's going on, a lot of the choices they choose, a lot of the things that they say, a lot of the thoughts that they have were never resonated in their own mind. That's a scary, scary thing. Most of it is brought through where either the way they were raised, their friends that they surround themselves with, so they think and talk just like them without ever even researching it or thinking to themselves, does that really make sense? Because if people, I've heard so many people say stuff and I'm like, do you even know what you said? Like, I don't even think, but they don't. They heard it, and then they get into a repeat. It's like repeat mode. And
yeah, I think when I was first introduced to that concept, it was in New Jersey. I think it was from Tony Robbins. One of his exercises was for us to like write down a short number of limiting beliefs that we've had that have affected us for whatever amount of years and that prevent us. Basically, we have to put down like, what is this belief? What does it cost me? And what would I gain if I got rid of it? I think that's more or less what the exercise was. And like, I believe I was like 19 at the time or 20. I was going through like a breakup, and I was just having a lot of personal turmoil in my life too. So like, that was like the perfect time to hear that, because I had to really think and stop. Like, there's these limiting beliefs that are at the core of who I am and these values. And then you have to actually question yourself and ask, are these mine? And if they're not yours, you get to begin to decide who you are. And then that's where life begins to me. You know, if you can't first do that, then there's nowhere for you to go. You need to understand yourself first.
I love that. Well, you know, I dealt with the same thing. So, you know, I had that car accident when I was, you know, in 2014, I was 35 and a half years old. And it created, like, obviously I had somebody for the first time in my life, like, tell me there was a different way to think. There was a different way to live. And I wasn't a victim of my life, and I didn't have to live that way because of my past. I could restructure my future, you know. And then, of course, 3 years later, as I started to grow, I read like 50 books. I was going to seminars. And then, of course, you know, what happened with my marriage, just like you, I went through a state of, you know, if it wasn't for my faith and if it wasn't for my growth, you know, but I still like, man, I was stuck for a while trying to really get through that. And I found myself like, you know, what is it all worth? And then, you know, and then you find your way out of it. But if it wasn't for that type of information and going to the seminars and being around thinkers, that's what I mean, thinkers. These people that I hung around were thinkers. They didn't think like the normal people. When I went to a seminar on a Saturday night and I got around people, you know, the questions they asked wasn't the questions you hear when you go to school or when you go to work. You know what I mean? So it kept me hungry. It kept me knowing. It kept me growing, even if it was a slower pace, because I was kind of struggling internally with the things that were going on. But I mean, it kept me focused on just there are good people out there, and I can be good too.
Yeah.
And you know, you mentioned something that I think is really important. You said that you didn't learn it in school, just like I'm sure most of us didn't, right? And what's crazy about that is that emotional intelligence helps you with everything else that you do in life. So it would only make sense for that to be implemented in school. If your goal were to have kids thrive, even in their academics, then you would focus on emotional intelligence too, because it would directly positively impact them in academics if they were taught about emotional intelligence. And
I love it.
I remember when I was younger, I was very blessed that I had like certain teachers that were, I don't know, like angels or something. They were just so amazing. And, you know, I was really going through it when I was like 15. So I would skip all the time. And I truly believe that I would have dropped out if it weren't for those people that really took time to ask me how I was doing. Like, hey, I noticed that you're not showing up to my class. Instead of it being like, oh, go to detention or whatever the consequence for not showing up was, it was deeper than that. Like they actually cared about not me performing in their class, but they knew that something was wrong because of how I was behaving. And that's very rare. And many people don't experience that in school specifically, and even at home, right? To where someone is saying, well, you're behaving this way. How are you doing? Like, are you okay? Are you going through something? Can I help you? Right? So that in itself really shifted my entire life and allowed me to do that within myself and also show up for other people so that they can do that. But it's crazy to me because it helped me get through it, right? And so it would only make sense, which is why I ended up mentoring kids as well in school to help teach them emotional intelligence. But it's really, really essential. Like I really hope that we can all actively do what we have to do so that it can continue being taught in school. We can pass it down to our kids. If we have kids, we can pass it down to the young ones and our family members, you know, like our friends. So if we don't do that, like we're going to keep this cycle going, and we really have to be the ones to break it and to pass forward this information, these exercises, and teach them to kids, because it really transforms their life in every aspect, including intellectual well-being, you know, including academics and performance in that aspect. So I hope that we can get to the point where we are teaching kids that in school.
I think that is absolutely perfect, and I, because with Saraí being a trauma therapist, I think that's important too, because there's so much trauma going on, and the teachers are not educated to deal with that. So you were very blessed to have a teacher. I was the opposite. You know what I mean? I got freaking told that I was a loser, a delinquent, wouldn't amount to nothing. But I think what you said too is I think what we need to start doing in school too is I think what would really help is if the teachers actually started to work for the students, because it always seems like the students are working for the teachers, and that you get these grades, you get all these things that really don't have a tremendous bearing on their future. You know what I mean? Because they're going to understand the failures way more than the success. So I think teachers need to find these kids that have work with their ideas, the creative sides. You know what I mean? Even in a structured situation. But we teach our kids really, really, really young. What do we teach them? We teach them that they're a product of the system that we've created. And then kids don't like to step outside the boundaries. It's one of the things that I see is if a young man, this is specifically for boys, right? There's a lot of programs for young ladies. There's a lot of program for different, for girls in the schools. But now they want a lot of the boys to be sensitive. So like when I get a big boy on a football team and I'm trying to teach him how to be physical, but his whole life he's told, you're so big, you need to be careful. You're so big, you're this. So then I get them on the football field and they don't want to touch nobody. You know what I mean? And then I'm trying to reframe their mind. Like, no, you have to have control, right? You got to have control. So we all got to have control, And I think that's, our education system, it is what it is, but I think there's a lot more that we can do. But, we have to have those teachers that are willing to go that extra mile too. Some of them we do have, and it sounds like you had a blessed one, but
I think it comes down to
like that. Yeah, I didn't have any of that either, and I slipped the cracks completely. I didn't have anything like that.
Yeah,
and I think that's why it comes down to the fact that I truly believe that I was blessed with these teachers because they were going through their own things and were able to break the cycle and show up for me in a way that maybe they weren't showed up for, right? And the beautiful part of it is that things are changing because I've been part of the change, so I can't say that it's not transforming and being better. But it is something that's part of a system that's specifically made so that we can be robotic, right? And these conversations allow us to show why that's not our goal as human beings, right? That we're not robots. We are emotional, energetic beings that need to feel and need to know how to feel, when to feel, and how to express that and how to sit with that. And if we're not taught how to do that, then it's going to be really difficult to function highly or thrive in any aspect. So
absolutely,
I feel like it's common sense. I've always thought if you want people to work harder, even for me as a leader, right? I've worked with a lot of teams. I've led a lot of teams in what I've done for my career. And I'm always in my mind, I'm like, because I'm so loving and I really care about these people, like I call them and I'm like, how are you doing? Are you feeling good? Are you drained? Like, what's up? Talk to me. They perform better than I can ever imagine, right? Because they feel taken care of. And so it's always funny to me. I'm like, if you really want people to work hard, just love them. Like, be with them and, and teach them. Yeah. It's
Hey,
crazy.
look, the next thing I'm about to say, share this to every teacher, every principal, every senator, every governor. Listen, your problems are gonna go away. Just ban homework. Because I'm in high school right now. I'm a high school senior, and I just hate homework. I would do anything. Just ban homework. Listen, I got some homeboys who, look, they going off, they going crazy. All the teacher gotta do is just ban the homework, and we good. Like, we right here, y'all.
Oh my God.
Hey, Dion, I never did homework.
Oh my God.
Yeah, all standardized testing taught me how to do is to cheat. Very good.
Dude,
That is the
I
most
used to spell words. I used to spell words.
Spell words.
Yeah, it'd be like dad. I'd be like DAD. That's good.
Now we fill in bubbles now.
I would flip the pencil, and when it would fall, wherever it hit, I would fill in.
Right? Look, y'all, I'm on virtual school and I only got 2 classes. And I never thought I'd do it, y'all, because you know they think I'm a goody. But I think one day I'm just have to go and just put them little pins on the old lady seat and just let it just taste that just one time. She got to get some of that, y'all. She got to, because they don't understand my pain. They don't understand it.
Well, my son's a high school.
Did the real Dion just stand up? Is that what just happened? The real Dion just showed up like an hour and almost 10 minutes. And he's like, let me tell you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, like,
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
you know what? We should start the live right now. We should start right now. That was all like a warm up. Let's start right now.
He was festering on that homework thing. You could tell he was festering on it.
To get it out. It was like a thump in my chest. You hear me? I had to get it out.
Hey, Dion, can I tell you a secret? I'm going to tell you a secret, though.
Tell me, right.
On this entrepreneurial journey, you're going to do more homework than you've ever done in your life, brother.
Okay, but wait, let me get there first. You know what I'm saying? like, don't make me suffer. I know that's what it's gonna be, but like, let me enjoy the process first.
That's too fun. That's fun. That's fun.
So whole other side to Dion.
I love it. I love it. So do we want to do any closing remarks? How do we want to end this tonight? Because I know we're getting to about almost an hour and a half.
I've had something in my mind.
You know me, I could talk for 6 hours. Go ahead, Brandon.
I could probably talk forever too, honestly.
Start us off.
Well, I don't know. It's kind of slightly addressing the previous set of questions and kind of talking about what Ashley was just talking about. It's kind of like an exercise almost.
So we're starting right now. We're starting our live right now. Here we go.
Yeah, I'm trying to make this short. I mean, I can make this simple. Anyway, listen. So we're one of the easiest things I think to practice, and something that I like to practice as often as possible, is compassion. And I looked up the definition of compassion because I didn't look up the definition of compassion until I was like 19, 20, 21, something like that. And it's kind of a nice thing to know. Compassion is the sympathetic pity and concern for the sufferings or misfortunes of others. And that sounds a little funny, but the reason I bring that up, compassion, is because the reason I say why it's so easy, there's tons of people out there who live compulsive lives, who are angry, who are suffering internally and all that stuff, and it gets projected and thrown onto your face if you walk near them. And a lot of people take other people's sufferings, a lot of people's anger, a lot of other people's problems, and they accept it like if it's a personal thing, like if it has anything to do with you. And in reality, it doesn't. I think when you're uncompassionate to people, when you reflect anger, when you reflect hate, all those things, you are adopting that person's suffering, and it has nothing to do with you. You never in your life do you ever have to stop and take somebody else's sufferings. As a matter of fact, all that does is make it worse, and that usually shuts down communication. So,
That's good,
so we're fortunate because we have one of the easiest things. People want to know, how can we exercise this and that? You're going to run into people all the time. When you encounter someone that makes you angry or disrespects you, treat them with love. And let them slide, because they're suffering. You're not suffering. They're suffering. Let it slide and try to be compassionate. Compassion doesn't mean kiss their ass. It just means sympathetic pity and concern for others' well-being. If you show someone you care about them while they're hating on you, they don't know what to do. They freeze.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Dion,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I like that. I like that. I like that. All right,
That was boiling
Dion.
in my head.
Dion.
I would like to say it's my son talking. That's what I would like to say. That was my.
Listen.
He said, please, Mom, not on the show.
Hold on. Dion's got something to say. Hold on.
Here's my closing remark, y'all, and then I'm done. You know, seriously, on the serious note. Tell them teachers to ban that homework, y'all. We're gonna be all right.
And homework. And homework 2021.
Nothing deep. It's simple. Just tell them to ban it. All right, y'all. I'm done.
My son would agree with you.
I'm sorry.
So do you
All
guys
right, all right.
do you guys see yourself as thought leaders?
As what?
Do you guys see yourselves as thought leaders?
Oh, for sure.
I'm a leader of myself.
I agree with Brandon. You're a leader.
Definitely your son.
Brandon and I are so much alike. It's not too funny.
I'm in my own
Julian.
world. I'm in my own world all the time.
Julian, what you got any final thoughts you want to leave us with?
Oh, final thoughts. Okay. I think everything's been pretty much covered, but the thing I keep going back to is basically be aware.
Be aware.
Just be aware. If you're aware of yourself and your surroundings, which you obviously have to be informed, so it all ties down to emotional intelligence, then you're capable of doing anything you want.
Awareness. I love that. We definitely need to be aware because there are things out there that drain our emotion. Helen, you got anything?
Exactly.
Yeah, I was actually thinking of stuff while Brandon was talking. I feel like, well, the thought like slipped away, but basically,
just let it flow. Just let it.
Straight up.
So
Just let it flow. Let it flow. Let it flow.
it's basically just be comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's mostly what I've been thinking about this whole time. You know,
Yeah, like
Vulnerability. We forgot about
basically.
vulnerability. We didn't
You gotta
speak
be
about
vulnerable.
that one time. Oh my god.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it for a while, but basically being uncomfortable is a sign of being vulnerable, because vulnerability is putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation for the things that are important to you. And if your emotional health is important to you, then you have to be uncomfortable. It's just basic. Like you have to learn, you know?
okay,
Damn,
I
now
got
I'm pissed we forgot about that now. Jesus.
So
And we've been here for an hour now.
So in terms of like having a conversation, like when you talk to someone and you're trying to put your best foot forward, even when they're in a bad position, like that's uncomfortable, because like the easiest reaction is to react and not to like think twice and react with intention. So basically, if you're put yourself in an uncomfortable position, think, react with intention, then you're gonna access your higher self. And
I love that. And
Spread
that really wraps around emotional intelligence. It's being emotionally fit, as Dion would say, to approach someone with the right mindset. I really relate to that. All right, Miss Peña.
First of all, this is a great conversation, and I really can go on all night talking to you guys. So thank you for sharing time and space with me. But I would just like to say that every single second from this moment on, you have a perfect opportunity to exercise emotional intelligence. I mean, it's something that I work on every single second of every day. It's not a journey that I've mastered, because I don't think you ever fully master it. I just think you get stronger and stronger as you go. So you don't have to wait around for an opportunity. Like every second you have an opportunity, because every second there are thoughts going through your mind. Every second there are emotions going through your body. There's energy happening within and around you. And like Brandon said, you are crossing paths with other people too. You are put into situations where you come across other people that are going to also allow you the opportunity to practice and exercise emotional intelligence, even when you're driving, right? Like a huge thing for me, especially in Miami with the crazy wild drivers over here, like it's really easy to quickly want to react to how people cut you off or whatever the case may be when you're out on the road. And even that is the perfect opportunity to say, you know what, like I have no idea what they're going through. I have no idea what kind of day they're having. Why am I going to waste this time being upset and overwhelmed by somebody that I'm not going to even see, you know, like that just left and cut me off. So every single second is an opportunity to exercise this muscle, and don't be too hard on yourself if you fail every now and then. Like I do sometimes. I react, and I use that as an opportunity to sit with myself and say, like, what was that? Like, why did you react? Why did that trigger you? Like, what's going on with you? Or why didn't you speak your mind? Why didn't you, you know, why weren't you able to be vulnerable with this person and share how you felt? You know, like I use every failure as an opportunity to really sit with myself and get to know myself more. So yeah, that's it for me.
I love that. I love that. I love that. The triggers.
Yes.
Knowing what triggers you is awesome. I just want to say, and then we'll let Saraí wrap it up since she's been all quiet in the corner.
But he didn't say anything.
Who?
Dion, he didn't say his closing remarks.
Yeah, he did. He said, "Get rid of the damn homework."
No, but since you brought it up, Saraí, Raymond, you quoted me about 5 minutes ago, and you said I mentioned emotional fitness, but you didn't finish the sentence though.
Great. Now I don't remember.
He used his whole breath to say that sentence.
Yeah,
you can't.
You said I was.
I thought he wanted to say something. I was sensing his body language because I have emotional intelligence, and he looked like he wanted to say something.
We intact. Me and you like right here.
Yes.
It's one thing. It's one thing. Ban that homework, y'all.
See?
And you know what? You know what, Ashley? You said thank you for sharing space and time with me, and it's funny because that's what Brandon was saying, that it's only space and time and me, right? So it's like, what is this? So we're all about space and time. Raymond, you can close out either.
I mean, you're not a flat piece of paper. You encompass space. So that's. I don't mean me as in me. I mean me as in I'm in this space. You know?
Yes.
I'm not Paper Mario.
Do a dance.
Exactly.
I told you about the dances. Didn't I tell you about his dances? There you go. He did it. He did it right now.
I don't know what she's talking about. I don't know anything about that.
So I was just gonna say, I also there's this. Oh, look, my battery's running low because I forgot to charge it.
Oh, right.
Oh, crud! It's Sarai's fault.
I mean, you're always forgetting to charge your thing.
No, that's you. Literally, no, I plugged it in, but I forgot to plug it into the laptop. See, but I'm saved. So I was gonna say, you know, I'm gonna take it one step farther and give everybody something to think about. So, you know, we know there's an IQ, we know that there's an EQ, but there's also a WQ, which is your will quotient. It's your will. It's the power. It's called the will quotient. It's your will. It's the will that you have, right? And then there's one called the adversity quotient, right? So I'm going to read these three things to you, and then I'm going to leave you with this because it's something to think about, right? Because the AQ is actually the perseverance it takes to overcome obstacles and setbacks. So that's attached to the EQ, but it's something a little bit better because it's that determining factor that pushes you over in circumstances, right? So the AQ tells you how well you withstand adversity and your ability to surmount it. The AQ predicts who will overcome adversity and who will be crushed. The AQ predicts who will exceed expectations of their performance and potential and who will fall short. And the AQ predicts who gives up and who prevails. And the way they come up with this quotient, it's the adversity quotient equals the IQ times the EQ times the WQ. So if you want more information, send me a DM and I'll give you the name of the book because there's homework to do, Dion.
Come on, Ray. I'm about to log off right now.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
What's happening?
So, anyways, I
just want
I
to know,
really
Dion,
enjoyed you guys tonight.
Dion, can you say my name?
Miss Band that homework. No,
Because I've been hearing you say,
it's SARAI it's SARAI, right?
oh, you
Yeah,
said
he
it
said it
perfect.
better than nine. People never say it right. He just said it right.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, you said it so right. You said it perfect. You've been practicing for like
I did.
probably 3 days. Ever
I
since
did my
we were
homework.
here
That
in
was
the
the
library,
homework
like
I
I'm
did.
practicing.
You do homework. Some people call her
He did my
Sarah.
homework.
Yeah.
That was his homework.
That's the only homework I do.
Dude, you got an A, bro.
Thank you, man. Thank
That was perfect. Are you sure you're not Cuban?
you. I
Or he
wish.
speaks Spanish.
Hey, I'm
He
trying to
speaks
get the
Spanish.
curls though. I wish though.
He speaks Spanish.
Oh, okay. He's Spanish. That's
Sí,
why.
sabe, sí. Un poquito
Sí, well.
español, sí.
Muy bien. güey.
Un
Mira
poquito.
eso.
Un poquito.
That's what Dion said.
All right.
See?
So we've been having so much fun. We don't even want to get off.
Oh.
Look, nobody wants to get off.
Isn't there's a back room? I thought there's a back room where we log off of this and then get off
I
this.
can play the back. Oh, that's a
Hey, you
background.
need
That's
to go
a
to the
background.
bathroom?
I can play the background.
All right. Well, so what do we do? Good night,
I
everyone.
think Laura's waving. I think Laura put like a little wavy hand. I'm waving at Laura.
Hey,
Oh,
Laura. We're just having this. Man, we've been here an hour.
It's like we're talking amongst ourselves at this point in time.
We've been here an hour and 35 minutes.
Wow.
Hey, Dion, I don't think we're doing that call tonight.
No, man. Yeah, it's over. It's over. That's
Oh,
I'll message you afterwards. We'll make sure we reschedule.
cool.
Okay,
Because
so it was fun. I love, like, you guys are so much more intelligent than Raymond and I. It's incredible. You guys are so much more evolved, and that's what I love about like listening to, you know, whatever generation you guys are. I have no idea. You're millennials or X. I think you guys are X.
No, we're millennials.
Z.
You're not a millennial, Raymond. You're an old guy.
Don't tell me that.
We're oh,
I think Dion.
I claim victory at 25.
I think you guys are Generation X, actually. Yes,
I'm
Laura says
millennial.
X-Men. Laura says
Yeah,
X-Men.
we're Gen X. Yeah.
Yeah.
look,
I
as soon as I heard my teacher talk about the Elfie, see y'all talking about millennials and X, Y, and Z. Soon as my teacher got the Z, as soon as she got the A, I cut her off. You know what I'm saying?
So what am I? We're not going to get into that conversation. I don't even know what generation I am. They ain't putting me in no generation. I'm my own dang generation.
Oh, wait.
Generation.
Dion had a piano behind him the whole time? What?
What?
Say Dion had a piano behind him the whole time?
Oh man, that's an organ.
The organ.
Keep the piano.
Man, I had
that's an organ?
look, y'all talking about that homework. Listen, I'm serious, y'all. I had intention to play this, and I was supposed to get a piano teacher, and I did, but I ain't did my homework.
Hey, I got a piano teacher for you. She'll do it online through Zoom, and it's only $25 per lesson, and she's good.
Is she good?
Yeah, my little cousin is getting lessons with her.
Oh, okay. I had to check that.
Back on that. Yeah,
She gonna make me do homework?
I mean, I think you're gonna need some homework if you want to learn some
If you
piano.
want to play that
Hey,
piano
Brendan,
like
do
me,
do you play the piano or organ?
Not really. I mean, I can play the piano, but I'm not very good at it yet. I do other things. I'm not classically trained.
Okay.
Laura
Y'all
said,
talk before I
Laura,
say something that I'm gonna regret, y'all. So go ahead and get me out here, y'all.
Oh, that's
What was
funny. You know what, Laura said? She said you're OG generation.
hey, that's right.
Okay. Wow.
Don't make me get baby gangster out here, because I'm the original baby gangster.
Oh my god. Stop it. You just embarrassed Ashley.
I can't. No. You didn't. That was just.
No.
Don't make me do my gangster dance.
Yeah, do it. I want to see it.
No, I'm not doing it.
Stand up and do it. That'll be so funny. That's an excellent way to end the show.
Y'all ain't ready for that. Y'all ain't ready for that old school stuff.
Oh yeah, I don't think Dion's ready. He just made a face like.
I ain't ready.
Dion's like, that's not my mentor.
Yeah, Dion's like, I'm gonna miss a couple of sessions
I'm
with
ready.
you. Dion's like gonna. Helen is laughing. Cookie has not stopped doing art the entire time. I could just tell. He's like, we could go eat dinner. We could go to the beach. We could go anywhere. And that's exactly what he's doing. Drawing. Like the whole time. He does.
You say he's drawing? What the heck is drawing?
He's drawing.
Drawing, yeah, drawing.
He's drawing.
I thought you said he's drawing the whole time. He's drawing.
Like, this is not his problem. His problem is just drawing all constantly. Like, that's why he's so
constantly engaged with himself. He never disconnects from himself.
That's great.
Or does he?
I bet you I could see him out in like in the public, man. He's probably talking to everybody.
No, he's not at all. He's just drawing the whole time.
Yeah,
he draws on people. You don't just walk up and start drawing on people, do you?
He's just not drawing from the car to the place. He's not drawing. The minute he sits at the place, he'll pull it out and start drawing again. He just never stops drawing. Literally never ever stops drawing. Anywhere we go.
I'm not even gonna go there.
I don't even know what he was thinking right now. I already know what it is. I already know what it is.
I don't even know why. Oh.
I already know what I said.
So what's next on the agenda for the night?
Oh my gosh. Who's getting up at 4 with me?
Every day.
I'm texting Ashley.
Oh,
what?
I'm getting red. You can't do that.
We've been texting each other the whole time.
I get red.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Do you see what happens, Dion, when women get together?
Crazy.
Man. So next year we're going to be throwing an event. We don't really know where yet, but we're going to be throwing an event.
And we're going to Ireland.
We're going to Ireland in October. But I think I want to do the event in DC because it's only an hour drive from me.
Wow.
I want to do it in DC. That'll be exciting. Brandon went to DC.
I love DC. It's beautiful there.
Yes. See?
Mm-hmm. I've been there like 3 times, I think.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh Heather's so funny.
It's my stomping ground.
I love it. It's so pretty.
I know. It is. It's such a good, especially you go down there in the nighttime, man. It's just it's a beautiful place.
Yeah, it really is. I love it.
You all right, Brandon?
Yeah, I just saw something that was funny on my phone.
Oh, so he's not connected to the phone.
Look, we've been on this thing for an hour and 42 minutes. He's allowed to connect.
Well, Heather,
I was asleep, and I got up and came to my desk, and here we are. I'm gonna go back to sleep as soon as
Heather
we're
said she wants to go to DC too. She said she's been to DC.
It's beautiful. I love it.
So right now we're just hanging out.
For real, I have to go. So
No, we all have to go. Sarai's like holding us captive. I swear, she's holding us captive, Ashley. What the heck?
I love it though. I love it. It's amazing.
How am I?
I've had to pee for like 40 minutes.
I think Dion has needed to go to the bathroom forever too. I see him going like this. He's like,
Y'all, I had to look. If y'all go to the private comment, Brendan saw it, I think. But I was here drinking that water in the beginning, y'all, and it did something, man. I had to go. Y'all saw my camera so many times. I had to go.
I had a smoothie and I had a large cup of tea.
This is 24 ounces of water.
Oh my God, it was horrible. I felt so bad.
I saw that.
So that means we're wrapping this thing up, huh? we're wrapping this thing up.
Yeah, Raymond, you better close it, because you don't close it, we ain't going nowhere, man.
So anyway, all right. So I'm just gonna say it because probably we
There's 4 people watching us. There's 4 people left. Just thinking like,
but look, because we're entertaining. We're entertainers. We gotta entertain. So I just want to say,
Jareem, Frank.
Why do you have to name them?
Heather, Benjamin. Hey, you guys gotta watch my live with Benjamin. It's gonna be so good. Benjamin is like, you guys gotta watch the live. I'll let you all know when it happens.
Yes.
All right, go talk, Rachel.
You busted the freestyle. I was about to rap.
All right, go. Go do it.
He's waving.
Dion says, bye, guys. All right.
Love you all.
We
Love you too.
Namaste. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Alhamdulillah.
Wait, so are you leaving? Oh, okay. We are.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Bye. I'm leaving. Oh, bye, everyone.
Bye. Good to see you.